I wanted to say one thing, just in terms of what you were talking, just one thing before we pass to the next question about validation. Because, entertainment business, modeling, acting, but also social media as a general, for anyone who has an account or anyone that's, out there putting content, it's a big threat, this risk of feeding into our need of validation, and that way, because you were talking about, that moment where you stopped wanting to please in that way so much, or being liked so much, or like overanalyzing yourself in that way. And that was your big moment, where you really stepped into, and it will continue to evolve for all of us. I mean, we're never arrived. We're always, when we think we've learned and understood something, then the next thing to learn and the next set of questions come, right? But I think we have to be very careful in this era of when we feed into this need of validation. And just keeping that in mind when we work, when we communicate, when we do, because that can be a big hindrance in actually realizing what we set out to do.
And recognizing that that's what you're looking for, because I think a lot of people post on social media and whatnot. They don't even realize that the reason they're posting, the reason they're doing this is because they're looking for that validation. And I catch myself doing it too, right? I'll post something, go on. How many likes did I get? How many views did I get? That's you looking for validation, which is funny that you say that, because I literally think that my last thread that I wrote on Threads was, if you try to be everything to everyone, you'll end up nothing to no one. And that was such a big thing for me when I heard that, because I didn't come up with that saying. That's a very
from
popular
one of our guests.
From one of our guests, I think. And I when I heard it, I was like, man, that's true. Like, you're looking for validation constantly from people that you're just trying to be everything to everyone. Like, I've got to, and for me too, because I grew up trying to please everyone, right? Got to please my parents because they want me to do well academically. I've got to please my sisters because they're my older sisters, and they're studying and whatever. I want to please myself because what I really want to do is act and like arts. So you grow up looking for validation, trying to please everybody, and then you end up just lost in this abyss of like nothingness.
Yeah.
And so you're right. It is really important, and and I'm trying to spend less time on it and find a balance. But the reality of our work too is that it's a big decision to make. Whether are you going to move forward in your profession without social media? Because that's like a big tool you're not using.
It's a question I'm asking myself a lot these days.
Yeah. And what is social media like right now with what's going on in the world? Sometimes you feel this pressure that you have to have an opinion on things. You have to post about things. And it's like, yo, relax. Like, I'm an actor, or I'm a model, or, or I'm a marketing executive. I don't have to give my opinion on political subjects. I don't have to give my opinion on scientific subjects, because this happened during the pandemic too. Everybody wanted to know everybody's stance on where do you stand and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And you're right. I think social media is going through a growth phase right now, and it's a little toxic. So you just have to be careful.
It's toxic and it's overloaded of content. And so, that's why I appreciate so much the form of a podcast, because it allows to have a conversation, taking the time to have it and to really go through a topic and a subject, rather than this battle to capture the attention of someone within 3 seconds before they scroll to the next thing. It's crazy if you think about it, what we've done. And I really think, to your point, that it's an incredible opportunity for talent, individuals, to have a channel that allows them to speak directly to an audience without passing through the intermediary of a journalist or media or other people talking for you. And I think maybe, I mean, I've had this, I don't read the interviews anymore.
Yeah.
I don't, just because I accept in the moment I do the interview that I'm doing it for X reason.
Yeah, but you're totally going to listen to this one.
No, I am. No, this one, yeah, no, yeah, that's different. That's different because this is a conversation, right?
Of course.
And but the interview, when a journalist interviews you and then writes the article, right?
I get
and
that.
kind of summarizes, and it's fine. I just accept that it's another person who's gonna have to kind of condense what I said and say it in their own words, and it will never be exactly accurate.
Yeah,
and I have an issue with that, right?
Of
but
course.
I just don't read it.
Of course, I do
And
too.
accept.
I've gotten in a lot of trouble in my past for giving an interview and it getting skewed, and even like giving the interview to one outlet and then lots of other outlets taking that headline, bigger outlets taking that headline, massive outlets, the biggest outlets taking that headline and turning it into a clickbait headline. But no one actually went back and read my whole interview. Right. And so what I've started doing, and this should be noticed to all the journalists I speak to, is I record all my interviews now. I record all of them. Because if a journalist wants to come out and say, Mena Massoud said this in our interview, I have it. And I'm like, no, actually, you're taking it out of context.
Cool. I'm gonna
definitely.
Gonna copy that.
Trust no one.
No, it's okay. I say it again with compassion. I understand. They are not you. They are summarizing. They have a direction from their editor.
They do.
They were told what the subject was.
Yeah.
You know, as you can see, I like to talk. So, you know, you can open a lot of things. So I get it. I have compassion, but I have to protect myself.
Of course.
From reading the interview and getting mad because I'm like, and then the reality is it doesn't really matter. Do you know? Of course it matters. Of course it matters if if your quote gets changed and taken out of context and made a clickbait of. Of course it matters. But really, like an article that is approximately true, sure, you know, it's still an article. Publicity is always publicity.
I think this is a good learning in terms of people's obsession with controlling every aspect of their life. Once you do the interview, the loss of control is evident. You lose the complete control. You pass over the reins of the person who's done the interview. But it is nice that you both said that once that interview was done, you're like, okay, I'm not going to hold the hockey stick anymore. Terrible analogy, but like
Very Canadian of you.
Very Canadian of me. Okay. You can run with it. It's yours now, right? That's not mine. Even though you guys care about your intellectual property, it matters. Your brand matters. You build it up, right? But it's gone. It's like in an abyss now. And it's nice that you have peace, because I think if we take even a step back, I feel like everybody has an obsession with controlling everything all at once. Right?
Yeah, you have to find peace in this crazy world and social media. And yeah, I've struggled with that too. I've thought I would be more peaceful, and it's something I still struggle with. I mean, by the time this episode comes out, I might not be on social media. I don't know, but it's something that I've said, because as I've gotten older as well, and I'm, you know, like I said, now I'm thinking about settling down, getting married, having kids, like all those things are becoming very real to me. I'm like, what really matters is my inner peace. And if my inner peace, my gut, like you were saying earlier, is telling me, get off social media, like who cares? Then maybe that's the right thing to do. You know, I'll find other ways to market. And I've told Alex as well, like I look up to I miss the era of like George Clooney, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, where people used to have to go to the movies to watch them. Yeah. That was it. They couldn't follow them on Instagram. You want to see Al Pacino? And everybody does, because he's amazing. You go to the movie theater, you pick up a newspaper, you read maybe an article, an interview he gave, and it's like, oh wow, I can't believe he said that. Like I used to collect GQ magazines because of the interviews that were in them. Yeah. Right? So maybe it's time to go back to that era for me, like as me, you know?
You know, people talking about your work rather than you being the one promoting it. And again, I think it's amazing that this channel was created for shameless auto-promotion. Like a friend of mine, Caroline de Maigret, said she had it as her tagline, and she became, very influencer, opinion leader. And, you know, she was very upfront, shameless auto-promotion diary. And I think that's brilliant. But I really, myself, where I am right now after 10 years, looking at also the benefits, ups, pros and cons, I really ask myself, at the end of the day, I think I'm more interested in people talking about the work rather than me constantly self-marketing the work, you see?
Yeah.
And it's maybe a little bit more old school in a way, but I think, it connects to something else, because I'm reading a book right now about ego. Ego is the enemy. Oh. The title is a little bit, I'm not sure about the title necessarily, but the book is very interesting. And one of the points he says, instead of like focusing on wanting to do something rather than being somebody.
Yeah, it's true. I look at some of my favorite actors, man, and they don't have social, like Joaquin Phoenix, or even the people in the past few years that won Oscars. Joaquin Phoenix, Rami Malek, like these people aren't really on social media because, like, part of me thinks like maybe you just have to take all that time and energy that you spend on there and actually focus on the thing that you want to achieve or the thing that you're passionate about, which would be like acting. Now, if you're using social media or whatever to like put on performances and stuff, that's different. But you're right, for shameless self-promotion, I'm like, yeah, maybe that's not the way.
No,
maybe you've convinced me. Maybe I gotta go home and delete it.
It's a hard one. I feel I have, like, you start to imagine, okay, if I didn't have the Instagram account, how would the message of the things that I do go out,
Yeah.